I was talking with, well, actually what happened was there were two women sitting, it was an outside deal, tables are outside. They were sitting a couple tables away. There was two of them. There wasn't really anyone else around. They had a dog. Then one of the women went inside for whatever reason, and I was left sitting there. So I made a brief comment on the person's dog, and then we kind of embarked on conversation. And then after a while, they were going to leave. Like they're kind of making a move to leave. And then there was kind of like they shared a look, and they made a decision that they were not going to leave, and they sat back down and stayed. And that brings me to the topic of today's video. This is kind of a short one. Is they were talking about a renovation that they were undertaking at their house, and that it had been going on a little bit long and taking a little bit more time, money, and aggravation than they initially expected. That's it. But they were kind of taking it in stride, which is good. And then we had a little bit of a discussion on dispute resolution with tradespeople and contractors, and I have some experience in this area. So what I suggested to them, and I didn't kind of like. I wasn't like mansplaining, but it was part of the conversation. I said, one good thing to do is you want to focus on the thing. What do I mean by the thing? Well, if something is supposed to be, say, 2 meters high, and you've measured it and discovered that it's 2.5 meters high, well, you point out that there's a 0.5 meter discrepancy, and that's it. And you leave fault, blame, personality, and the issue of money out of it. You don't worry about that. And what does that mean? Well, what I do, and it's an expression that I've adopted from someone that did this professionally that I encountered 25 years ago or something. When 25 years ago, the firm I worked for we were a part of a very large project, hundreds and north of $500 million, and it wasn't that it wasn't going well, but it wasn't finished, and we needed more money, and so I was sent to get more money. And on very large projects, quite often there's a person whose job it's called contracts administrator. The reason why is because no one reads the contract. It's just a fact. Contractors don't read contracts. Clients don't read contracts. Subcontractors tend not to read contracts. Basically, almost no one reads a contract. I read contracts. Okay. So I was meeting with this guy, and I'm sorry I forget his name. He was the contracts administrator, which is basically he's the guy with the authority on expenditure and spending the money. And he said he said this. He said, "Well, let's separate the commercial issue from the solution of the problem." Okay. Let's do that. So we both acknowledge that there's a problem. There you go. We acknowledge that there's going to be money involved, but let's leave that for later. And there you go. And he had another great line. He said, "Well, it's not like we hired you to do a bad job." Okay. And at that moment, maybe I'm going to say 100 people at my firm were working on this project. So for us, it was a big deal, and we had some what you'd call exposure, because all these people had to be paid. We had to be paid. Everybody had to be paid, and the client needed to get their system up and running properly. All right. So getting back to that, to the issue of the coffee. So I'm having coffee and chatting with these women, and they sort of, like I said, they became engaged. I sat back down and we continued our conversation for another 5 minutes. And the message today is, is what that guy said, is you want to separate out the who's going to pay from the let's get it done. Okay. So while you're getting it done, you get it done, and then someone's going to get paid. Now, there's in the contract world, there's a bit of a precursor to this, which is you have to vet if you're the client, you have to vet your contractor, and if you're the person that's doing the work or the firm that's doing the work, you have to vet your client. So if I walked into a very large construction company, and we have a few of them in our area, and said, you know what, I'd like to build my own private airport, and I'd like it to be this, and the person is going to look at you and they're going to realize quickly that, well, you're crazy and we're not doing that. Okay, so you want to make sure that that your clients are matched to your firm and your firm are matched to your clients, and that everyone's aspirations are matched to within their resources. That's it. That's a microeconomic reality, and in contracting it. Actually, there's a legal term for it, or a Latin term, and I'm not a lawyer, so this is not legal advice. Okay, I have lots of lawyer associates, friends, somewhat colleagues, but I'm not the lawyer. But the term is ad idem, or of one mind. So you want to make sure that the bathroom that you're commissioning is the bathroom that they are building. There you go. So separate the commercial from the solving of the problem. That's my little message today. My name's Bruce. This is my classroom in the forest, and if you find this stuff at all useful, please subscribe. Heck, why not? Give it a thumbs up button. Why not? I mean, there's little downside. There you go. Thank you very much for paying attention this far, and I hope that you're enjoying your day. Goodbye.